Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So this evening we're going to speak, we've been asked to speak on the subject of Siksastakam. Those of you who are coming in the morning, Mangal Arti, after the Mangal Arti generally, we like to recite Siksastakam prayers every morning. Brief introduction. So we like to speak on we like to recite the Siksastakam prayers, and all the devotees are encouraged to know Siksastakam prayers. It's a meditation for the devotees. So of course Lord Chaitanya, he had requested his disciples to write books, and of course they did profusely, particularly Jiva Goswami and Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. They wrote many verses, beautiful Sanskrit verses on the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. And Lord Chaitanya had given them the instructions. So Lord Chaitanya himself did not write any books, but he did speak. And these Siksastakam prayers were generally, they were the utterings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they're recorded in the Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishna Das Kaviraj. You can read the Siksastakam prayers as they were uttered by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we'll summarize briefly the verses of Siksastakam. I think many of you all know the Siksastakam. So first verse, we can recite together. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhavam nirvapanam shreya kareva chandrika vitaranam vidya badu jivanam anandan buddhivartanam pratipadam punamritasvadanam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Nam. Okay, we'll just say the first verse. We'll speak on each verse as we come to it. First verse. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtan. All glories to the Shri Krishna Sankirtan. Sankirtan, of course, is the Yuga Dharma. And one of the external reasons for the manifestation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was to establish the Yuga Dharma. Kali Yuga Dharma, Hari Nam Sankirtan. So this Kali Yuga, it's meant for Sankirtan, the chanting of the names of the Lord. And in this very wonderful first verse, Lord Chaitanya describes the effects of chanting the holy name. First of all, he talks of Cheto Darpana Marjanam, about cleansing the mirror of the mind, the heart, the mirror. Heart is like a mirror, reflecting everything, memories of everything there in the heart. Cheto Darpana. So Darpana is a mirror. Marjanam, cleaning the heart. Just like we have Mandira Marjano, we clean the temple. So we have to also clean the heart. Our heart is not very clean. We know here in Bengaluru, there's a lot of pollution here now. We used to say air-conditioned city. That was in the past. No more air conditioning. When I first came to Bangalore in the 1970s, I was here in Bangalore, where we did not have any temple. I was staying here for some time. We were living with some other devotees. We were staying in the Hanuman temple. Maybe you've seen near to the race course, there's one street called Hare Krishna Road. Right? You know that road? Yeah, we had that road named Hare Krishna Road. It did not have any name. And we were staying on the Hanuman temple, which is there on that road. And we noticed how that road didn't have any name. So one of the devotees who was staying with us, he was from here, and he went to the government offices and talked to the people, and they agreed to name that road Hare Krishna Road. So that was in the 1970, 77, I guess, 78, yeah, 78, 79, like that. Prabhupada had left the world, and we were trying to establish the Krishna consciousness movement, having lost our founder Acharya. So it was difficult times. Anyway, cleaning the heart, something which is done by Sankirtan. It's very important for us to have Sankirtan. And many parts of the world, our devotees do go out regularly on Harinam Sankirtan. If you go to England, for example, in London, devotees go out almost every day in London. And at one point, they asked people, when you think of London, you know, what sights do you think of which remind you of London? And at least one person said that when they thought of London and the sites which are prominent there in London, they thought Hare Krishna people chanting on the roads. So this is Krishna consciousness. You know, we need to be seen, right? We don't just sit in the temples. Before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, there was always the chanting of the holy name. But before Chaitanya's appearance, the chanting was done in the temples. But Mahaprabhu brought the chanting out of the temples. He brought it out to the public, to everyone. Of course, initially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting in Srivasangam, but after he took sannyas, and then while he was staying there, and he did stay some 18 years in Jagannath Puri, his business was Sankirtan. He discussed philosophy with only a few of his very intellectual and learned devotees, like Ramananda Rai, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. And he would discuss different elements with them. But generally, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's preaching was through Sankirtan, through the chanting of the holy names. So it's very important for us to have Sankirtan. In Srimad Bhagavatam, it's described about the appearance of the Lord in Kali Yuga. Krishna Varnam Tavish Akrishnam Sango Pangastra Parshadam Yagnaye Sankirtan Pray Yajantihi Sumedasaha. This verse is spoken by Karabhajana Muni in reply to Nimiraji's question. He wanted to know about the Lord's incarnations in each age. So Karabhajana Muni is one of the 9 Yogendras, and he said this verse, where he describes how in the Kali Yuga, the Lord will come and his color will be Akrishna. He won't be blackish. He'll be a different color. And he will be doing Sankirtan. And the verse also said, Sumedasaha. Sumedasaha. In Bhagavad Gita, you'll see the word Alpa Medasaha. So, Sumedasaha means purified intelligence. In Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna is speaking about worship of other gods, he uses the word Alpa Medasaha. When people worship gods who are not supreme, then they are less intelligent. Their brains are small or meager. But people who are engaged in the Sankirtan, in the chanting of the holy names of the Lord, Harinam Sankirtan, then they have Sumedasaha. They have purified intelligence. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the first verse, he establishes very clearly the nature of the holy name, how it will cleanse the heart. There was an interesting discussion. Different sages had all gathered in the presence of Haridas Thakur to glorify the chanting of the holy names. And some of them were saying how the chanting of the holy name destroys sinful reactions. And then there were others who said, oh, the chanting of the holy name awakens transcendental knowledge. But Haridas Thakur explained to them that those benefits are secondary. The ultimate benefit of chanting of the holy name is that you will develop love of God. And when we clean the heart, when we get rid of all the dirt from the heart, all the anarthas, then we will awaken love for God. So this is the power of Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy name. So Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavakni Nirvapanam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then goes on to describe how the chanting of the holy name extinguishes the blazing fire of material existence. Of course, we sing about that every morning in the Guru Vastikam when we say Samsara Dava Nala Lidaloka. Right? So the fire of material existence, who's responsible for it? Just like bamboo rubs together due to the wind, the bamboo rubs together and produces some spark, and the dry leaves in the forest are ignited, and the forest fire takes place. No, nobody was responsible. You could say due to nature. It's the nature of the material existence. But anyway, the chanting of the holy name extinguishes the fire of material existence. This is the power of the chanting of the holy name. The fire of material existence, the troubles which we experience in the material world. Right? Adi Bhautik, Adi Atmik, Adi Daivik. The different miseries of material existence. So the holy name helps us to transcend all the miseries of material existence. So Cheto Darpana Marjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Shreya Karaiva Chandrika Vritaranam Vidya Vadu Jivanam. Vidya, transcendental knowledge. Vadu, the wife. Jivanam, transcendental knowledge. So the chanting of the holy name awakens transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge comes about where there is pure devotion. We know Vasudevi Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. Jnana Yati Asuvairagyam Jnanam Chayat. By doing devotional service to Lord Vasudeva, one automatically acquires knowledge and detachment. So these things must follow where there is genuine devotion. The example is given just like when a man eats food. When he eats food, gradually he will feel a relief from hunger. He will feel satisfaction and nourishment, and he will feel relief from hunger, satisfaction, nourishment, and this way he's had enough to eat. Doesn't want to eat anymore. He's satisfied. So similarly, in the chanting of the holy names, we awaken transcendental knowledge, which detaches us from the material existence. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says the holy name, Anandan Buddhivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrit. It gives us a taste of the full nectar for which we are always anxious. We want to bathe the soul in the pure nectar of the holy name. Right? Mahaprabhu taught, Prem Punarto Mahan. The goal of life is to develop love for God. How will we ever develop love for God? We have to chant the holy name. Chanting of the holy name is essential. I remember one time we were building a temple. In India it was also, they were constructing a temple. And the devotee who was in charge, he was very busy because he's building the temple. So he was doing a very important service because he had to construct the temple. But they told Srila Prabhupada that Prabhupada, the devotee said he's too busy to chant his rounds because he has to build the temple. Prabhupada said, what? He said, if he is not chanting his rounds, then he will not remain in Krishna consciousness. It's very essential that everyone dedicates themselves to daily chanting of the holy names. If you're not going to dedicate yourself to chanting the holy name, you cannot expect to remain in Krishna consciousness. It's very essential. So that is why when we are given Diksha, at that time we're requested to make the vow to chant. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described in the first verse, the basic principles behind the chanting of the holy name. And therefore he says, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtan. Then he goes on in the second verse. You can all recite, Nam Nam. Okay. Yes. The Lord is so kind. He has so many names, right? There are primary names and secondary names. Primary names are names like Krishna, Govinda, Shamsundar, Radha Balava, Madan Mohan. These kind of names, they're very much describing Lord Krishna's wonderful qualities, and they will describe also his relationship with different devotees. They are primary names. There are, however, secondary names. Names like Paramatma, Brahman, and Bhagavan. Well, Bhagavan, that's somewhere in between, you know. That's not exactly secondary. But Paramatma, Brahman, and Jagannath is also a little special, you know. Generally, it's not directly, although we identify Jagannath very much with Lord Jagannath, but we like to chant names which are more in relation to the Lord and his devotees. So primary names. The secondary names will give you liberation, but they will not give you love for God. And the goal is to develop love for God. We don't just simply want liberation. Liberation is not very important for devotees, because devotees are already liberated. When we chant Hare Krishna, immediately we're liberated. When we begin our devotional service, it begins on the platform of liberation. So liberation is not very important for devotees, but we do want to get Krishna prema. We're anxious for that. So from Lord Chaitanya's Siksastakam prayers, we can understand more the importance of developing love for Krishna. So these first few verses, they're very much in relation to sadhana bhakti, the different rules and regulations. But you'll see as we go through the prayers, how Lord Chaitanya brings the Siksastakam prayers to higher levels. Of course, the second verse continues, the Lord has many names, but Durdaiva midrishami hajanin. I'm very unfortunate. Why am I so unfortunate? I have no attraction for chanting the holy name. This is our misfortune. We have no taste. How to get taste? You have to chant more. You have to want to get taste. You have to have that desire, the burning desire to achieve something. You want it so badly that you will even cry. Of course, Srila Prabhupada used to tell us that our chanting should be something like a child calling for the parent. So when the child is separated from the mother, and the child will certainly cry with so much love that it's only the mother who can stop the child from crying. So the devotee should have that kind of feeling in his relationship with the Lord, that we want to call his name. We're addressing him. We're calling to him. And of course, it's important for us to understand that the holy name is the Lord. So in our chanting is not only a prayer to the Lord, but it's the answer to the prayer. Because by chanting, our prayer is being answered. Right? Generally we pray, oh, give me this and do that for me, and we have so many requests. But we have to understand that in chanting the holy name, the Lord is there in the name. A devotee was giving a lecture, and Prabhupada was listening to the devotee. And the devotee said, Krishna is in his name. And Prabhupada stopped and said, no. He said, it's not that Krishna is in his name. He said, Krishna is his name. One and not different. Lord Krishna is His holy name. Right? When we chant the holy name of Lord Krishna, we have to understand that is the Lord Himself. Kali Kali Namarupe. The Lord comes in the form of His holy name in the Kali Yuga. So we have to be very conscious that when we're chanting, we're associating with Krishna. It is our association with the Lord. We want to develop the qualities of a devotee. We want to develop these saintly kind of characteristic. We have to associate with Krishna. And we get our association by chanting His holy name. So we have to develop the taste for that chanting. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, although Lord Krishna has given us so many wonderful names to chant, I'm so unfortunate. I have no attraction. And then the third verse, of course, is a very wonderful verse, which is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can all chant, Trinad. Yeah, very important verse, very special verse, that we should be tolerant. And how tolerant should we be? Tolerant like a tree. Just like these trees here in Bangalore, they tolerate. You know, trees belong in the forest, and here they are in the city. The poor trees, they don't get they have to take in all the fumes from the vehicles, and so many, not very pleasant for them to be stuck here in the roads here. Anyway, the tree is a very good example of tolerance, because even though we cut them, they give flowers, they give fruits, and they continue to grow, and they give shelter even. So trees are so tolerant. Lord Krishna also glorified the trees in Vrindavan, how they were so magnanimous souls, providing flowers and fruits and shelter, fuel. So very wonderful example for us that we should be tolerant, and we should amanina manadena, offer all respects to others and not be anxious to get respect for ourselves, and think of ourselves lower than a straw in the street. So that is also a very significant point, that we should think of ourselves like a spirit soul. What is the dimension of the spirit soul? 1/100th of the tip of a hair. Our ego should be in proportion to our spiritual dimension. But we're thinking of ourselves, no, I'm 6'2", or I'm 5'8", We think of ourselves in terms of the physical body. But the ego is meant to be in proportion to the soul. And the spirit soul is very tiny. It is lower than the straw in the street. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says like this in Siksastakam, he's pointing out that if we want to have Kirtaniya Sadahari, you want to chant the holy name, we have to give up that false ego. We have to stop thinking we're the body. We live in the body, and we have to take care of the body. At the same time, we have to be detached from the body. We have to have the pure consciousness to understand ourselves as a spirit soul. And as spiritual beings, amanina manadena, we will offer all respects to others. Because we won't be thinking, I'm high class, they're low class, I'm rich, they're poor. We won't be thinking in terms of the body. We'll think on the spiritual platform and we'll see all living entities equally. Then we can offer respects to all other living entities. And in that way, then we can chant the holy name constantly, which is what we want. We want to come to that level. Kirtaniya Sadahari. We want to always be chanting the holy name. It's important for us to keep the holy name on our lips. And then, fourth verse continues, Nadanam. Mahaprabhu continues saying, "O my Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth." Well, that's something very special, isn't it? We don't find too many people in Bangalore like that, do we? It's not a very common thing. You don't want wealth, you don't want najanam, you don't want fame, you don't want followers, you don't want to be praised, we don't want labh, puja, pratishtha, profit, adoration, distinction. We don't want these things. No. And the devotee does not even want liberation. This is very important. The Lord is not, he's saying, I don't want liberation. What do I want? I simply want devotional service, birth after birth. One who is engaged in devotional service, they are liberated souls. And it's that liberation, that's there anytime you want it. B.V.V. Mangal Thakur said, liberation. He said, I'm standing with his arms folded, waiting to serve me. You can have it whenever you're ready. But devotee doesn't want liberation because we have something much more than liberation. We have devotional service. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is pointing out the subtle desires which can obstruct our mood in wanting to serve Krishna. That we may be chanting Hare Krishna, but at the same time we have desires like profit, adoration, or distinction. We want material gain, we still have some desire to enjoy the material world, and sometimes even we want to be respected as a great devotee like this. So these kind of desires, they obstruct our mood of service to Krishna. And we have to get rid of these things to come to the real level of love of Krishna. We have to. So Lord Chaitanya is pointing out the obstacles in devotional service. And then he continues, Ayi Nanda Tanuja. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servant. And though I am so, somehow I have fallen into this world of material existence. Please therefore pick me up and fix me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. So this is the pure desire of a devotee. that they want to simply be fixed at the feet of the Lord. Meaning, where Prabhupada said, when we speak about feet, it means service. In Krishna consciousness, we don't encourage people to go and touch the feet. We encourage people do service. Srila Prabhupada would say, don't just come and touch my feet, better you bring me my slippers. Right? So he is pointing out that's better than just coming and touching the feet. You come and do some service. That is how we get purified. Because if we just come and touch the feet of the sadhu, oh, you're giving away your karma. But that's not doing you any good. It's not going to stop you from doing more karma. What you need to do is be engaged in service to Krishna. Take up the remedy to avoid karma is devotional service. Be engaged in the service of Lord Krishna. And that will protect us from getting more karma. So Lord Chaitanya is now coming to the higher level of devotional service, and he's going to explain about Bhava Bhakti, which comes in the 6th and 7th and then 8th verses. Bhava Bhakti, finally Prema Bhakti. So 6th verse, Nayanam. Lord Chaitanya is saying, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my words choke up on uttering your holy name? And when will all the hairs on my body have eruptions and recitation of your holy name? So Lord Chaitanya is saying, when will this happen? And so that we have to understand that is the higher level of Krishna consciousness. Those are transcendental symptoms which are achieved when one comes to the level of Bhava Bhakti, which we describe as devotional service in ecstasy. So in order to come to that transcendental level of Bhava Bhakti, we have to come through the preliminary stages of sadhana. Sometimes it does happen, sometimes you get people who are coming to Krishna consciousness and they also feel these kind of symptoms. That even a very new person may shed tears and they may also feel trembling and so on like this, some ecstasy. This is due to shadow attachment, not the direct pure attachment, because they have not been following all the rules and regulations. But somehow they're able to experience that kind of attachment for the Lord. So shadow attachment. And these kind of people, they should be encouraged. It's very nice that they're feeling that kind of ecstasy. But don't stop there. You have to go on and you have to take up the rules and regulations and begin to follow all the rules and regulations. To actually come to the level of pure Bhava Bhakti, then you have to come through the preliminary stages of Anartha Nivritti, getting rid of all the attachments and the material desires, and then coming to the higher levels of Krishna consciousness by chanting of the holy name. So chanting of the holy name, you can see how it's a progress. Prabhupada told Giriraj Swami, Giriraj, he was a brahmachari at the time, but he had come to India in the very beginning with Srila Prabhupada, 1970 or so, like that, he'd come to India. And Prabhupada had put him at one point in charge of the temple at Juhu. And so Giriraj described one morning, he said he was chanting and Prabhupada came to him and Prabhupada said to him, he said, you know, it took me 32 years to perfect my chanting. So Prabhupada was pointing out to Giriraj Prabhu at that time, he said, don't think it's going to happen very quickly. It's going to take time. You have to make the effort. You have to really endeavor to do the chanting, to come to that stage of pure chanting. So you want to taste the nectar, you want to experience Bhava Bhakti, you have to develop that desire to really, you have to have that greed, right? That loyam. Loyam, Prabhupada describes it as ardent longing and greed for something, that you want it very badly, that you want it so badly that you will even shed tears. You cry, just like children when they want something, they will cry that they want it. So the same way we should want to develop our love for Krishna. Gaur Govinda Maharaj used to say he wanted to create a school for crying, to teach all of us how to cry for Krishna. That is the perfectional stage. You know, that you want Krishna so badly that you will cry. Of course, we're casual about it. Well, I don't mind, you know, maybe one day I'll get Krishna, and we think. We have to want it very badly. So Lord Chaitanya is describing that there is ecstasy there in chanting the holy name. And one should desire to come to that level of tasting the ecstasy. But you have to be qualified. You can read in the Nectar of Devotion how devotional service in ecstasy is described and how there are 9 different qualities which are there, which a person has to have who is actually on the level of Bhava Bhakti. That they have a very strong desire to chant the holy name and they're very eager to stay in the holy place. And they're very attached to to discussing the pastimes of the Lord. And they have a strong hope to achieve the Lord also. Like this, there's 9 different qualities all mentioned there. So it's not just a chance thing that somebody gets ecstasy and someone doesn't. You have to make the endeavor. You have to really want something. And we have to become very deeply absorbed in thinking of Krishna and in concentrating on faithfully chanting the holy name. So then the 7th verse continues. A moment, oh Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. And tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain. So that this is again the higher level of devotion, Bhava Bhakti, that you want something so badly. You consider the moment, just like when the gopis, they were cursing Brahma, that you made our eyelids blink. We can't see you. We're not able to see Krishna just for a fraction of a second. But it feels that fraction of a second is like 12 years for the gopis. It's like a very long time. Nimishena, yugaitam nimishena, chakshusha pravish, sunyayitam jagatsam, sunyavadi. We're thinking everything to be void, but of course, that is not Krishna consciousness. The Sunyavada, Prabhupada's pranam mantra. When devotees wanted another mantra for Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada personally composed that prayer, Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Precha, Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschachadisa. So here in Lord Chaitanya's prayer it says, Sunyayitam Jagat Sarvam Govinda Vire. Everything's becoming void. Why? Because there's no Krishna. I'm not seeing Krishna. So everything is meaningless. It has no value to me anymore. If there's no Krishna, it's nothing. There's nothing. This is the thinking of the devotee. They cannot tolerate to be separate from Krishna for even a moment. It's the most painful thing to them. So sunyayitam jagat sarvam. Govinda vire. The attachment to Govinda, Krishna. And then the final verse. So this very amazing verse, it said this is actually the words of Srimati Radharani. The Srimati Radharani, she's thinking like that. Very wonderful verse. She's saying that I know no one but Krishna is my Lord. And she's saying to Krishna, you said, if my being unhappy makes you happy, that is my happiness. Right? Do you have a wife like that? Did your wife ever say that to you? My dear husband, if my being unhappy makes you happy, that is my happiness. You know, usually they'll say, you should make me happy, right? And so, but Srimati Radharani, the mood of the gopis, they only care about Krishna's happiness. They want to make Krishna happy. They don't worry about their own happiness. Their only thought is for Krishna's happiness. So this is prema bhakti. When you have that kind of thinking, you don't consider your own happiness. And this is why Lord Krishna was appreciating so much the mood of the gopis that we see in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He says to them, Naparaiham, that I cannot repay you for your spotless service to me. Your service to me is beyond reproach. You have given up your connection with all of your family members in society. You have given them all up for my service. Lord Krishna said, let your own spotless service be compensation for you. It will have to be your compensation, because he said, I am not able to repay you. Although in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna had said, as you surrender to me, I reward you accordingly. But when it came to the pure love of the gopis and Srimati Radharani, Lord Krishna had said, I cannot repay you because your love is so great. You have given up. You've given up things which are very difficult to give up, just simply for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. So that is pure love. that you give everything for the service of Krishna. You don't think, this for me, this for Krishna. This much, I get this, and this, you know. We don't think like that. We give everything for Krishna. That is pure love. So of course that's very difficult to do like that. But that is why Lord Krishna is appreciating the love of these gopis and Srimati Radharani. And because of their pure love, that Lord Krishna was appreciating that they're enjoying more than me. Lord Krishna likes to enjoy, but he saw that they're enjoying more than me. Is it possible you can enjoy by giving up? Oh yes, because you enjoy the loving exchange with Lord Krishna. You enjoy the loving feelings. Lord Krishna, of course, takes special care and he has special dealings with his pure devotees. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in these 8 verses of Siksastakam, he is revealing to us the transcendental exchange between the devotees and the Lord in the form of his holy name. Chanting of his holy name is, we may say, I don't know Krishna, but if you chant the holy name of the Lord, you can know Krishna. Krishna is there. Krishna is his holy name. Nam Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Binad Nam Nama Namino. This is an important verse which is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, that the holy name is Chintamani. It can fulfill all of our material and spiritual desires. And it is non-different from Lord Krishna. As I said, it is not different. Lord Krishna is his holy name. And the more we chant and the more we develop the love for Krishna, the more we will take shelter of the holy name. And we see how great devotees in our line of disciplic succession, how they took shelter of the holy name. Rupa and Sanatan and Jiva Goswami, and then Baladev Vijayabhusan, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, they were all taking shelter of the holy name. They were becoming more and more absorbed in the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Siksastakam prayers, very important for us. We want to appreciate them. Are there any questions?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for the wonderful explanation. Maharaj, I wanted to ask about the third verse that you were describing, Trinadapi Shunichena. Theoretically, I know that actually I should be humble and consider myself lower than blade of grass. But when it comes in practical dealings, the false ego comes out. As you were saying that actually the false ego should be smaller than the size of the soul also. But practically speaking, it comes out actually time and again. So what to do for that?
So?
What to do?
What to do? More chanting. And we should want to correct it, right? We know that something is coming out, so we should understand, but I still have some anarthas there in my heart. We have to get rid of the anarthas in the heart. The anarthas are there. There are different kinds of anarthas. Seva anarthas. Seva aparad, sometimes it's offenses in worshipping the deities, or it may be offenses in dealing with devotees, or in dealing with living entities. We have also Hridaya Durboyam, which is another anartha, the weakness of the heart, attachment to material things, you see. So we have to overcome these kind of tendencies. So these anarthas, anartha nivritti is the most demanding of the different stages of devotional service. Quickly we can come up to, adau, shraddha, tata, sadhu, sangha, bhajana, kriya. At the stage of bhajana, kriya, then we are given initiation and we get diksha, So diksha is the beginning. But to come to anartha nivritti, that is the most challenging, the most demanding of the stages of devotional service. But once we get through anartha nivritti, then we can go on to nishtha and ruchi, asakti, then bhava and prema. These things come. And we're told that they come quite rapidly once you get through anartha nivritti. But it depends how thorough we've been in removing anarthas, because anarthas can be very subtle in the heart. And so, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, we have to cleanse that heart, cleanse the mirror of the mind, cleanse the heart through the chanting of the holy name. It's going to take time, it's going to take our own intense desire. We have to become very serious in regularly, faithfully trying to chant the holy name. And chanting means to hear the holy name, right? People would sometimes ask what to do with the mind. Prabhupada said, it's not a question of the mind. You use your tongue to chant and your ears to hear. You don't need to think. You don't need to be thinking in the mind what to think in the mind. If you're thinking in the mind, then you won't be hearing. This is the problem. So we have to concentrate, hearing and chanting. The process is Shravanam Kirtan. We have to hear with attention. So concentration on the holy name. Yes, we have tendencies, we have anarthas, we have problems or shortcomings in devotional service. So as Prabhu is saying, sometimes the other side, the bad side comes out from us. So it's a reminder that we're not yet perfect, that we're not yet pure, that we need to go on and we need to work harder and do more, right? It's going to take some time. It's a process. But don't be discouraged. Continue. Keep chanting. More chanting. There is the solution to all of our problems. Everything can be rectified through the chanting of the holy name.
Yeah, Maharaj, I wanted to ask, how do we develop consistency? On some days we are really fired up when we hear a class about chanting and the quality is good, and again next day it's totally distracted. Some days good, some days distracted. How to have consistency?
Yes, it's such, these tendencies are there, and in Madhurya Kadambini, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur discusses these different kinds of tendencies which are there in devotional service, to be inconsistent in the practice of our devotion. Again, it's a sign that we still have anarthas to be removed, and we have to become more conscious of these things and endeavor to overcome. How to be consistent? We have to make a point to do these things. Don't be slack. Inconsistency, it indicates our weakness and our lack of full attachment to Lord Krishna. Just like if one is the pujari, he has to be consistent. He has to be there on time. He has to be clean. He has to have clean clothes. He has to be consistent to do the worship of the deity. So similarly, you're going to do japa, you're going to do your chanting. You want to be consistent. You want to make a habit, make it a regular habit. And the more you're determined to do it, Krishna will help you. It's important for us, consistency. That we cannot just be haphazard. Oh, today I'll chant. Oh, tomorrow I'm going to have a day off. I need a break. Oh, no. No, you have to be very dedicated. There's no days off in chanting the holy name. We get more chanting. We don't get less chanting. There's no days when there's less chanting. There are days when we have more chanting, more service. Devotional service is it's always increasing, right? It's the ocean. The devotional service is dynamic situation. It's not static. Static, it's going down, it's going to stop. But dynamic, it should be increasing. We want to increase our devotion, increase our mood of service. We want to do more for Krishna, right? As you go on, just like Srila Prabhupada was doing more and more for Krishna. One devotee described Srila Prabhupada, he said, it was like a great marathon runner. If someone's running, did you run the marathon? Did you ever? I never run a marathon, but I heard the description. It sounds, they're really trained, and they're running the marathon and they're running steadily. Oh, and when it comes to the last part of it, the last lap, then it's a great effort. You really go forward, the final sprint, You put in everything to just make the best possible time you can. So we saw Srila Prabhupada was like a great marathon runner. He was doing so much, and then he was increasing and expanding the movement, and he was writing books, and he was opening more and more centers, and more devotees are coming, And like that, Prabhupada was just doing more and more. And there was no question of inconsistency or, oh, it's getting too much, I want to take a break. It's all nectar for the service of Krishna. We want to do more. So we do need to be a little strong with ourselves. The tendency of the mind may say, oh, Prabhu, you need a break, Oh, Prabhu, it's, the weather's cold today, or the weather's very hot today, or, oh, you've been going for, you can have a day off, you need a break, The mind will always talk to us. So we have to be able to defeat the mind. You have to deal with the mind, There's the devil, and you've got the two sides, the good and the bad side. And sometimes that bad side is saying to us, oh, don't do service to Krishna, oh no, don't chant. So that inconsistency that is coming from the bad side which we have. And you have to starve that side. You have to starve it. Just like, when you capture the wild animal, you have to train it. And first of all, you capture the animal, you put it in the cage, and then you don't feed it. So the animal gets very hungry. And then after the animal's hungry and been in the cage for a while, then you take a whip and you give it a beating a little bit. And then you feed it. So when you feed it, the animal thinks, wow, this man is very powerful. He put me in the cage. He beat me. Now he's feeding me. I better do what he says. Right? You hope, anyway. You hope the wild animal thinks like that, you know. Anyway, dealing with the mind, you have to deal with it like a wild animal. You have to starve it, you have to beat it, make it submissive, get it to do what you want. Don't listen to the mind. Now, of course, sometimes when you have to know when is the mind being good and when is it not. When to neglect the mind and when to hear from the mind. You have to know. Use your intelligence. When the mind is telling us to do devotional service, all right, then it's something good. But when the mind is saying don't, then you have to be careful. Don't listen to the mind. We have to control the mind. The mind, in the example of the chariot, the horses are the senses, and the driver is the reins are the mind, and the driver is intelligence. So higher than the mind is intelligence. And intelligence is seated next to the soul. So when we have good intelligence, it will direct the mind. When to hear from the mind, when not to hear from the mind. And we get that good intelligence by reading Bhagavad Gita, remembering the teachings, and by chanting the holy name and being dedicated to Krishna's service. The more we have that dedication, then the more we will be consistent in our devotional service. Yes, Prabhu? Well, Prabhu, you know, I joined the Krishna consciousness movement in 1971. I was 21 years old or so, and I think 21. And, you know, I was very new. I'm from the West. I was not brought up in Krishna consciousness, you know. I was brought up in a very hedonistic lifestyle. You know, we had a lot of material enjoyment and sense gratification. And I was brought up in the 60s. In the 60s, it was particularly notorious. It was a time of revolution, and you know, young people were revolting. We were unhappy with the world, and we were trying to change the world. We wanted to change the world. And Srila Prabhupada came along with the Krishna consciousness movement. And we saw that as being a very positive change. So when I was around Srila Prabhupada, mainly I just tried to hear him. Because I knew if I opened my mouth, he'd know I'm a fool. So I tried to keep quiet. And I just tried to hear Srila Prabhupada. So I didn't really have any personal dealings with Prabhupada. Sometimes devotees would want to get very close to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada would say, you go with him. Go and serve one of the senior devotees, like one of the GBC or something. So you don't want to get too close to the spiritual teacher, and you don't want to get too far away. If you get too close to him, then you'll see him like an ordinary person. And if you get too far away, then that's also a problem, because you lose your Krishna consciousness. So we have to be careful. So I tried to be a bit careful not to get not to get too close. We didn't really get the chance to get so close. There were always, a group of people whose job it was to keep everybody away from Prabhupada. Don't go and disturb Prabhupada, you see. So that was the situation a lot of the times. Mm-hmm. All right. Any other question? I'm getting a bit late. We can stop here. Okay. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki.
Hare Krishna. So grateful to Maharaj to speak about Seshadripuram and giving so many lessons on chanting the holy names of the Lord. So let us thank Maharaj one time chanting Hare Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Ram. And I remember Maharaj had once taken one unit of Bhakti B.V.V for us. So it was so amazing to hear from Maharaj again back, and we keep hoping getting Maharaj association in the future. And the prasadam for all the devotees down. And anybody want to give any dakshina for Maharaj can give to Madhusudan.